Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So I have news to share about two election fraud lawsuits, and one was filed by a January 6th insurrectionist. The other was filed by a group of attorneys, and a judge just raked them over the coals, spanked them with sanctions. It was a glorious thing. Here's the deal. An attorney named Paul Davis was fired by his employer after he was seen in videos outside the Capitol on January 6th. He, like so many others, just posted videos to his social media pages, and he was turned in, and so he was fired. Well, subsequently, he filed two insane federal lawsuits. In one lawsuit, Davis asked the court for a new election. That was one of the remedies he asked for. He also asked to remove all members of Congress because he claimed that, they weren't actually legitimately elected. And his lawsuit stated, quote, Congress had no authority to confirm Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris as president-elect and vice president-elect. This is because the 117th Congress is itself illegitimate as the fruit of an unconstitutional 2020 congressional election process. So Davis also asked for a federal judge to install former Trump cabinet members to act as what he called stewards, who would essentially just block Joe Biden's agenda, just block anything that he wanted to do. Davis suggested that these former Trump officials could work at the White House and that Biden should be relocated, that he be removed and sent to live somewhere else, while basically still retaining the title of president, but essentially in name only. Now, included as defendants in this insane lawsuit were Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, both Democrat and Republican committees, every governor throughout the entire country, and then various others. And he asked the judge to ban all of these defendants from ever holding public office, whether it be again or for the first time, they would be banned. Now, when journalists pressed Davis and said, show us what evidence you have of voter fraud, Davis, like so many others, said, there might be some available out there, but he also said, I don't need it because this isn't a fraud case. So he used the Rudy Giuliani, I guess, defense that, this isn't a fraud case, so I don't have to show evidence of fraud. So he claims that everybody in Congress, governors, should all be removed because they were elected in a fraudulent manner, but this isn't a fraud case. Okay. I mean, seriously, what? Why? I don't get it. Like, did he get his law degree at Trump University? What? So the other lawsuit that he filed was like equally outrageous and crazy, but neither of them has been able to gain any traction because, as people on the right always say, facts don't care about your feelings. So last week, Davis voluntarily dismissed the one lawsuit where he was asking for everybody to be removed. And then the other one essentially is just stalled out. It's just been stagnant since the end of May. So I think it's safe to say that nothing's going to happen with that. But Davis blames dropping this one lawsuit on a bad actor that was involved. And this person, as he tells it, basically promised funding, promised resources for the lawsuit, and then just never came through. And then he also said that this person refuses to turn over evidence that was in his possession, that would have proven all of their claims. So, sure. So that's done and over with. Those lawsuits, at least the one has officially been dropped. The other one is just hanging out there. I doubt anything's going to happen with it. But there was another lawsuit, which you guys may or may not have heard about. It was described by Law and Crime News Outlet as a spaghetti against the wall legal offensive. That was a direct quote, a spaghetti against the wall legal offensive. Even though this lawsuit had been dismissed already by the judge back in April, the judge just recently, just this past week, sanctioned the attorneys who filed it. So this lawsuit in particular was filed by attorneys from Colorado, and they allege that a massive conspiracy took place, and it involved Dominion voting systems, Facebook CEO again, Mark Zuckerberg. They also named his wife for some reason. They named numerous public officials from Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. And the plaintiffs were demanding $160 billion in relief. Well, the judge issued a 68-page ruling that just was unbelievable. It was written by U.S. Magistrate Judge N. Reed Neureeder, and he just filleted both the attorneys and the lawsuit itself. I mean, he just smacked them around, sent them to bed early without dinner. It's like treated them like the children that they are. So among other things, Neureeder called their lawsuit, quote, one enormous conspiracy theory. And he called the lawsuit disorganized and fantastical. That's another quote. The judge also somewhat laid blame at their feet for January 6th, for that domestic terrorist attack at the Capitol. He said that, quote, the complaint's allegations are extraordinarily serious, and if accepted as true by large numbers of people, are the stuff of which violent insurrections are made. Neureeder went on to say, quote, for plaintiffs' counsel to hold up this article as supporting the existence of an illegal RICO conspiracy to rig the election is an affront to the truth and an attempt to mislead the court. Now, in that statement in particular, he was referring to an article that they cited in their lawsuit, which he said, you clearly didn't read because it does not mean what you think it means. Like the headline could have been misconstrued by the attorneys, but if they actually read the article, the full article, they would understand that the article was saying, no, there was no election fraud. No, Donald Trump and his people are lying. They're fabricating this, and it's a bunch of BS. He also called out the affidavits from so-called witnesses. He said that they demonstrated no firsthand knowledge of election fraud or misconduct. In addition, Judge Neureeder stated that the attorneys, quote, improperly included in a federal complaint highly disputed and inflammatory statements by the former president, stating categorically that Dominion deleted 2.7 million Trump votes nationwide. And he said that they did that without doing anything to independently verify the truth of that statement. Now, because Judge Neureeder found that the lawsuit was frivolous, and he, in his own words, said it was, quote, filed in bad faith, he also said the attorneys knew or should have known that the case was doomed from the beginning. It's another direct quote. Because of all that, he ordered that they pay reasonable attorney's fees for everyone named as a defendant. That means these Colorado attorneys have to pay legal expenses for 18 different defendants. And think about who some of these defendants are. You're talking about Mark Zuckerberg. His attorneys are not cheap. I guarantee you that they are not like, somebody you get off of a bus bench somewhere. They are probably pretty damn expensive, and they have to cover the costs of all of those people. So this is not good news for the likes of people like Sidney Powell or Lynn Wood, who could still face sanctioning or potential disbarment for their bogus lawsuits. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue that these Colorado attorneys, which nobody's heard of, did more harm than well-known Trump-backed attorneys like Wood and Powell and Giuliani, who literally conducted tours. They went on tour and held rallies throughout the country promoting their election fraud lies. So, I can't see them getting off without something, without some sort of penalty. And it also doesn't bode well for people and news outlets who have lawsuits pending against them brought by Dominion and Smartmatic. because, you would imagine those two companies are probably enjoying every minute of this. They're probably salivating at the idea of using decisions like this against Giuliani and Powell and Fox and all the others that they've named in their lawsuits. I mean, this is great evidence that they should have known. They, just like these Colorado attorneys should have known. Now, these attorneys did say they plan to appeal this decision. The judge advised them against it, and they said, just pay the bill and move on. But they've said that they plan to appeal it. So I'll let you know where that goes. I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.